guys, welcome. TJ McCormack, world's greatest roofer. I'm the community manager of Roofer. You probably know who I am. I'm here with Silberia Garcia. How's it going?
It is going wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem. I'm glad to have you tonight. I'm out here in the beautiful mountains of North Carolina, getting ready to install a Euroshield roof. Where are you at?
So I am located in Frisco, Texas, and we did have a sunny day today, but it looks absolutely gorgeous there where you're at.
Oh man, you know what? It's a little chilly. It's a lot windy. I had the worst landing I've ever had flying in an airplane today, but I can't wait to talk with you about Rise and learn a little bit more about you and what you're doing. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. See, we already got quite a few people in here watching. Tell us a little bit about you. What's your company's name? And tell us, I hear there's a story about rebrand that just came up recently. Let's hear a little bit about it.
So first off, I just need to say you and your team are doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Your team is on top of it. So I can't wait for everybody to experience what I've experienced just in the last 30 days with your team by showing up at Rise. They're putting in a lot of hard work, and I so appreciate you all. So so my name is Silberia Duran, and I'm located in Frisco, Texas, and I am the proud owner of Red Bottom Roofing. And the name is the rebranding, and the name has been established for just the last few months. I just actually announced the name. I've been doing business already, announced the name a couple weeks ago, and I am super excited about it. It means so much to me.
You know, when I saw Red Bottom Roofing, I was like, holy crap, what a great name, especially for you. I know you from the industry over the past several years. I've watched you come up, and we were having a chat about that just a little while ago. But tell me about how you feel about that new brand, and how are people taking it?
Oh my gosh, they are responding amazingly. They all love it too. And I think what's really important. So when I thought about the rebranding process and what I wanted, a name and a logo, and I talked to a really good buddy of mine, Kevin Burrell.
Kevin.
So love Kevin. And so I reached out and I was like, hey bud, this is kind of what I'm thinking. And he really did. He sat down and said, Sil, here's what you got to do. He said, you really need to be intentional before you come up with a name and a logo. And he's like, you need to really understand what it represents. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What is your ideal client? He said, get down to the nitty gritty. What do they drive? Where do they vacation? Where do their kids go to school? He's like, what does that client look like?
Right.
And so one evening, my husband and I were sitting down and we're talking, and I recently, back in December, got a Porsche Cayenne. And we're talking about my Porsche. And honestly, I was kind of talking about some of the negative feedback and pushback that I've gotten from people about my Porsche. And I said, it's unfortunate because I also have been very broke in my life. Like I was homeless. I was like, I know what it's like to drive a beat up vehicle and start with nothing. I said, so when I get in that car, I effing love it. I was like, I love what I feel in that car. I said, I feel empowered. I feel accomplished. And well, then I transitioned and I said, like my red bottoms, because he's bought me a couple of pair of red bottoms. I said, like my red bottoms. I said, babe, when I walk into a room, I want people to feel that. I want them to stand out. I want them to feel accomplished and empowered. And I want people to look at it and just know and be proud of it. And he actually, right off the bat, said, "Red Bottom, that's what it's going to be."
Oh wow!
So that's how he came up, and I've got to show you. I just so happen to have them right here. So nice. I recently got my newest red bottoms.
Woo! What flavor are those again?
So these are like an ombre. It's called ombre. Yeah,
nice.
It fades off. Yeah, so I'm going to be wearing these in Houston for the panel at Rise.
I can't wait. So tell me a little bit about what do you guys, or what do you like to do when you're not out selling roofs and driving that beautiful Porsche around?
I hate this question. I hate this question because oftentimes I feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have a life. Like I suck. So I am, I've got 3 kids and I've got 3 bonus kids. And so really when I'm not doing any roofing or working, it's either, running the kids around to sports. I do love watching my kids play
Yeah.
sports and supporting them. But one of the things I really love to do in my life is I coach indoor spin classes.
Oh, nice.
And it's been a really big passion of mine for probably 10 years or so. And so on my free time, I coach at Cowboy Fit here locally. And
Nice.
I really, really enjoy doing
So
that.
so roofers could come and get a fitness workout and learn more. Maybe you guys could have like a group of but no, that's great. I know that one of our people at Roofer, one of the product people, teaches a spin class too, and he absolutely loves it. So I can
Oh, cool.
only imagine. What who's somebody that you're looking up to right now? Maybe somebody from the past, maybe now, maybe
Oh, gosh.
who's got your attention?
Well, I tell you what, in the work for the industry, I guess
Right.
professionally, being a female, one of the women I really look up to is Roofer Girl.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Samantha, it's interesting, a few years ago here locally, we actually kind of started to coin myself with that name. And I
Yeah.
thought, well, let me go look it up. And so I no longer call myself that name anymore. And so, but I went to go look her up and I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is a badass.
Yeah.
Like, I was embarrassed to call myself that. I'm like, no, she is legit. I mean, this girl is, she's up there doing the installs and she is a badass. I finally got to meet her back in January
Yeah.
at a conference.
At
And
SRC. Yeah.
so industry wise, I really, I admire her. I look up to her. I appreciate, because there's, as you know, there's so many different divisions in roofing, right? There's
Yeah.
sales, and there's installs. And so watching her be the install, there's not many women doing installs.
You
Um,
know, I'll say this about Sam, and I know this is we're going to keep it about you as much, but Sam is one of my favorite people in this world. A lot of people know that. I find solace talking to Sam because she's somebody similar to me in the social media world, and but Sam she's a boss. She's a lot more than just install. Like that girl runs a roofing company. She's up in Canada, like helping empower other women. She's on the reservation trying to help her people. And I love that about her. So I'm glad you brought Sam up because
yeah.
I don't get a chance to talk about her as much as I would love to. So
Well, and think about that. When you ask that question,
yeah,
I
yeah,
obviously admire her, on
yeah,
the female side and being a
yeah,
female in the industry. And I'm sure a lot of men really appreciate and respect her.
yeah,
But I don't know. I don't know how many of them look up to her. Right.
yeah.
And so for me, I definitely admire, respect, and I definitely look up to her and what she's doing. She's definitely taken on some of the hard parts of the industry.
Let's talk about respect. This is off the cuff, right? So respect in this industry, um, you would think it's earned, right? But a lot of times on social media, a lot of people, it doesn't matter if it's roofers or whatever, they hide behind their keyboard, right? And if it's a man being empowered or if it's a woman being empowered, they oftentimes try to take down or put down somebody who's doing better than them or who's doing something that they want to do, right? So, but no, it's always great to talk about Sam. But there's other women in this industry like yourself coming up. We had this conversation. One of the reasons that I chose to have you as part of this, or our team did, is because you are a woman that's a badass in Texas, and you're doing something different with the branding and the marketing of your company, which makes you different. And all of us are trying to find our niche in this industry, right?
Right. Well, I think the key is to find something that's personal to you,
Yeah.
right? And that's how you're going to brand yourself. There's everybody comes up with their branding name in a different way.
Yeah.
But when it really hits home, and I so appreciate Kevin Burrell that he sat down and said that, and I really did. I took a solid probably 30-45 days really just kind of working on that and what resonated and what did I want that to feel like.
Yeah.
And because I came from humble beginnings just growing up, but I've had some circumstances in my life where I was just really down as low as I could get. And I wanted something that was going to resonate with people, what resonated with me. And that was really important for the heart aspect.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry if you guys see my screen moving around. It's really windy, so I apologize. But let me ask you this. I'm really big into the organic social media, right? Like I hate to pay for ads, and I'm sorry, Daniel. Daniel's our paid ads guy at Roofer. If you're watching, dude, I'm so sorry. I love you to death. And anybody else out there in the marketing world, maybe you saw that I asked that question today. I'm really trying to take a dive. What kind of marketing is your business doing right now? And how much have you implemented yourself into that organic or that personal social growth?
So as far as paid ads and things like that, I'm doing zero.
Right.
What I've noticed that everything's been organic. And
Right.
But what I mean by organic is it didn't start when I got into roofing. I've been organic and intentional for probably about 8 to 10 years now, at minimum 8 years. I just started growing kind of this presence and this network online, and I started just sharing honestly, my personal life, right? So, everybody likes to say, people do business with people they know, like, and trust, right? And
Right.
there's some truth to that. But I started, when I really started to get intentional about branding myself years ago, again, before roofing. So it's all been very organic, talking about just, I post about my children, I post about my faith, I post testimonies, oftentimes I do a testimony Tuesday. All that was branding. That's branding still before I was even branding a business name.
Do you personally think that helped you in building that trust with people who might not have known you and then they reached out?
100,000,000%. Absolutely.
We have some people in the industry that are really trying to put down the talk about being more personal in your social life and only focusing on business, social media, right? And I'm the one that's always like, no, you should be personal. And that's what I typically say of be an influencer, not an infomercial, because people buy from people. And when I'm knocking on your door, those people are going to buy from me, and they want somebody that they can trust. And building that trust on social, it's easy now.
I think it's going to need both, right? If you're knocking the door and people haven't followed you on social media for 5 years, then you're probably going to need that more branding and ads and things like that they can see. But, when you kind of get past that stage of, okay, I don't want to knock so many doors, I'm looking for that referral business now. And you have people that have been following you. Most of my clients now are people that I've known and done life with for at minimum 5 years, whether that be baseball parents and things like that. But, I hope to be able to touch on this at Rise. I think why people struggle on their personal side is because they're afraid to get vulnerable.
Yeah.
People recognize vulnerable when they see that you're out there posting your personal life and not like, oh my gosh, we're in Hawaii. Look how great this is. Like, they want it. Sorry I don't know if I can cuss, but they want to see the shit, right? They want to see, I can connect with this person who's kind of been down and I can understand. And to go another step further, you have to get real with yourself and you have to accept your flaws and everything that looks like in order to get vulnerable. We're so worried about, well, if I put this out there, what are they going to think? Well, when you know who you are, then it doesn't matter what they think. Most people are actually going to come out and be like, man, I actually really connect with that guy. He used to be an alcoholic, or he used to, smoke dope, or whatever that looked like. And there's a connection, but your shame is keeping you from being that vulnerable, and people can't connect with you.
Yeah, I post, a lot of people know this, I post typically around 15 times a day on all platforms, not just, maybe it's 6 or 7 on Facebook, but then it's on all the other platforms, and people are like, how can you come up with so much content, TJ? And I'm like, I'm just telling you my life day to day. And what you said about going to Hawaii or just promoting yourself when you're on a trip, those are those feel good times, right? Those are those times where you saved up enough money that you can go on a trip like that, and now you're out there living your best life, but you're gonna have to go home at the end of that trip.
Exactly. Yeah, they want to know what that looks like. They want to know, does she fight with her husband the way I do? Like,
I don't know. Well, let's ask Kyle Duran. He's in the comments here. He said that's my wife, Red Bottom Roofing. So no, just kidding. We don't need to know your personal life, Kyle.
Too late. I already share all of it too. Everything that happens, he says, that's going on Facebook, isn't it? I'm like, yeah, it sure is.
He says no fighting. It's all Hawaii. That's great. So let's jump into this. Are you finding that it's hard to make sales right now? Are you having trouble with the economy the way it is, or are you seeing things just like normal?
Oh, and we're in Texas, baby. No, we're not struggling with that at all. I don't feel it anyways.
Yeah. And are you only doing storm work, or are you also doing finance work, or
mostly storm work? Yes. Okay. Yeah, but I don't see that. And the thing is, when it comes to their home, and we're in Hale Alley here, right? Yeah. Especially this season right now. It's most people view it as not an option. I mean, this is their house. It's what's covering. It's their biggest asset that most people will ever have. Yeah. So when it comes to these, when you got softball size hail, and then the fear when they're, unfortunately, when they're being sold on fear, it's like, hey, this is really what ultimately is going to happen. And they have to weigh that out and say, okay, well, we have to put the money here versus there. Then this is our long-term investment. And so,
I know the Dallas market well. Like a lot of people don't know this about me, but that's where I learned to door knock. Is Plano area, and I was in a major storm about 6 years ago there, and in Plano, and Texas people are hard when you go to knock on their door, and it's not the Texas people that you have to worry about. It's the cops that are coming to stop you to make sure you got a permit.
So were you around during that Wiley storm?
Yeah, the Wiley storm. Wow. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I've been doing this. Be going on 9 years next year. So
okay. Wow.
Yeah, but no, it's kind of crazy to remember those times. But when I talk to people from that Texas market, the DFW market, let's just call it that, like the DFW market is hard when you're trying to find somebody who's wanting to pay their deductible, right? Yeah. Or they don't mind that you're knocking on their door. So, but let me ask you this. Educating yourself, how are you doing that? You've been on the come up yourself these past few years. Who have you found that might have been able to help you or educate you better?
Oh gosh, here's what I've learned about this industry, and that I'll continue to share on every platform that I'm invited to or not invited to. I'll tell them anyways. You just got to start diving. There's so many people in this industry that are so willing to help out. Everybody said, some people will view it like, oh, you're my competition. We are, but we're not, because we're in the same industry doesn't make us competition. And I'm very fortunate enough to have several people, just kind of take me under their wing. And, here locally, a gentleman, his name is Chris Birch, David Taggart, Kevin Burrell, following Raymond. I finally got to meet him last week.
David's going to be speaking with you.
I know. Yeah. Well, so, real quick, whenever you messaged me, and I was like, where's Ashton Kutcher about to jump out? And I'm because TJ's reaching out to me. What? Yeah. So one of the people I reached out to was Taggart. And I was like, hey, Bo, I said, how well do you know this guy? Is this for real? Like, has he been hacked, or is he reaching out to me? What's the deal? And I so appreciate him. He said, Sil, I'm the one who recommended you. He's like, I dropped your name in conversation. And honestly, with that, only my husband knows this, but after I read that, I started to tear up. Yeah. And so I say all that.
I told you that. I said, somebody recommended you to me. And yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to, speaking about being intentional, I'm sorry to cut you off, but being intentional with the way that we have created Rise. And I say we because there's a team of us. It's not just me. This wasn't just some big idea that I had. It was roofer really is growing in the marketplace. And we really wanted to educate roofers, and we wanted to do it authentically. We wanted to do it with those people who are out there every single day grinding like you are, and possibly wouldn't have an opportunity right now to jump on a stage to tell us what you're going through. Because a lot of times, let's just face it, in our industry, we tend to put the same people up on those pedestals when we could be learning from somebody like you.
Right. And to, so for your education question and how am I educating myself, it's by jumping into these live conversations, just listening. And Kyle, he'll respond here in a second, but I go to bed at night listening to live videos, replaying them, whether it be whoever's leading in the industry, whoever has videos to offer like this. I'm telling you, so many times he and I will fall asleep listening to David Taggart. Or whoever is with that, the ones that are paving the path, I get involved into the platforms or the forums, if it's Facebook pages, anything like that. I YouTube videos. So just kind of self-educating, now going to conferences and going to places like Rise, going to SRC, last week we went out to Atlanta, to go to John Cenak's class.
Yeah.
And you keep putting yourself in those places. And, one of the things I like to tell people in the industry, what I've learned is basically imagine yourself getting a 5,000 piece puzzle. Yep. And take the box, throw it out on a table, all the pieces fall out. And then the box that has the picture on it that you're supposed to put together, take that picture and throw it in the trash. And now over time, all those little pieces are eventually going to start to come together and you're going to start to see the picture. But basically that's what it is you just throw all the pieces, but the more you show up and the more you keep grabbing those, it's like I may go to a class last week in John's class, and then in 3 months, it may come up and be like, oh, that piece goes with this piece. And then this piece goes with that piece. And then the picture starts to make sense.
One of my things is that I've been talking about is that I don't learn well from a lot of people, right? Mm-hmm. I learn well from, like you're talking about, picking up one thing here, and then implementing it the way that I would put it into my process. But that's where listening to the same people talk over and over again for me just got relentless. And now I'm not able to go find somebody that may be like you that I can learn from, or I can understand, or I want to learn something from. Yeah. And that's just great. I see Eric Richardson here in the comments. Eric owns a company called Roofing Specialists of San Diego. So he's going to be speaking for us in Carlsbad, and somebody else that you should definitely know if you ever want to get in the solar game. That's the person I'm telling you to talk to. Tell me something. What kind of technology are you using right now in your company?
So I'm using Roofer. And
awesome. I didn't know that. I haven't asked that before. So.
I use Company Cam. I absolutely love Company Cam. Those are kind of the biggies right now. So here's what I know about the future, though. What I really need to get on board with, or I think I need to learn more. The drones.
Oh, yeah.
And the part that's going to play, that's already here, but the bigger part that's going to play in the future. And honestly, that kind of scares me. I'm not great at it. It intimidates me, just like everything else, right? It's just one of those things where you have to and learn it and figure it out.
Yeah, doing drone inspections aren't the same as doing regular inspections for sure. But, funny you say that. I was one of the very first people in the roofing industry to train roofers how to do inspections with drones.
Wow.
It didn't go over very well.
No, but it's coming. And we have a local insurance company here that they outsource third party. Their first inspection is via drone, and it's not been a pleasant experience. That insurance company as a whole is not a pleasant experience. But here's what I know. We're going to see more and more of that in the future.
Yeah. One of the people that Roofer really love to deal with is a company called RoofHawk AI. And I'm sure maybe you've seen it before, but Steve Patrick and those folks over at RoofHawk do a really good job of the artificial intelligence with detecting that damage, which is going to be the future one day, right? We keep saying it's going to be the future 5 years from now. You're only going to be droning. Nobody's going to walk roofs, right? But that's not the truth. but we're also going to be a little bit more safer. Drones are going to get better. Technology always is improving. And then one day, who knows, maybe there's a satellite in the sky that takes a picture of the roof and you could see 10 hail hits per square.
It's like the guys, the good old boys that, for them, it's like, oh, well, I hand measure everything. And back in my day, and that's how we're going to be. Back in my day, we had to get up there and we had to chalk it ourselves. And, and we'll still be, at that point, we'll be the good old boys.
Yep.
But nonetheless, it's evolving. And, if we have kids that we want to either take over the company or whatever that's going to look like in the future, we have to get ourselves familiar with it.
That's one of the things that I was talking yesterday with Chris Scoville when I was doing this live. And then also something that as an initiative in the marketing of Roofer is that a lot of roofers in their late 50s, early 60s are starting to hand their businesses down across the world to their 20-something-year-old grandkids who are Gen X or Gen Zers, right? Or millennials that have only used technology in their life. And now they're going to come into a company that has no technology. How have you seen technology change our industry in just the past few years?
Oh, well, just even in that, right? Just the not having to hand measure things anymore.
Right.
And there is an art form to that.
Right.
That is actually that, unfortunately it's fading away. Everything is going to be relied on the technology and be able to drone footage and all that. I think it's changed it drastically, but I think it's opening up great opportunity, right? So when you have a roofer and there's opportunity there, which is great. And I think that, having to pass that on to another generation, I'm sure there's fear there. There's fear of, I created this and, what do you know? And then honestly, I think the next generation is going to do their job, which is they're going to improve it. And with all the opportunity they're going to have with technology, I think it'll be great.
One of the things that what I hear often is like, we're 10 years behind in the roofing industry, behind every other industry. Right. And I'm like, damn, what does 10 years look like? To me, what would that be like? I can't imagine. Like they already got people in flying cars, maybe we're flying over a roof one day. I don't know. But Eric Richardson just said, what's chalk for? Never seen hail out here where we upgrade shade. But yeah, no, David Summerly, he said that he loves Company Cam, uses it daily. Great shout out to Company Cam. Company Cam is actually going to be a sponsor as well. We're working through that right now. But you know what? I'm gonna go to this, and then I'm gonna do a shout out to my sponsors real quick, or to our sponsors. But what's one piece of advice or wisdom that you could share to aspiring people out there right now, either whether it be any roofer or female roofers, whatever your demographic is that you're trying to reach? Give us a piece of advice.
Gosh, this is probably the you're gonna have to cut me off because I can probably talk a lot on this one.
No, go ahead.
Learning from my own experience. A couple of things. I would say number one, as much as it sounds like a get rich quick, I think we're being a little bit misled. It can be in a market where you don't have to knock a door. It's needed and everybody knows that. But what happens is whenever you're 2 years down the road and you don't have that storm, and then now you really don't know what to do. You don't know the ins and out of of a roofing system. You don't know what to look at. You just walked in and they said, "Hey, here it is." So I would be careful. I'd be careful buying into that. It's a phenomenal industry, and you can make a really good living. But definitely take the time and understand that you're making a career choice. If it's just going to be seasonal, then you'll do great. But if you're making a career choice in this, just know to start diving in, even while the business is coming in. That's great, but you're going to hit a point where you're really going to need to be educated. And then secondly, I would say understand that you're not just a roofer. You're so much more than a roofer. A roofer, for me, roofing and getting into this industry it pays the bills. You can make a great living, but I had to understand that I'm so much more than that, and that there is a greater purpose, and this is going to lead me to that greater purpose. And just to tell yourself every day, I'm not a roofer. I am so much more than a roofer.
Yep. You have to be. Back in the old days, you show up at somebody's house and they sign a contract, you put the roof on, and you never really talk to them or get to know them. But nowadays, everything is relationship building, and providing that the value, the trust, the love, all of the things that you have to do in a regular, normal relationship with other people. And it becomes a friendship that lasts a lifetime sometimes. Some people make it about money, which that's the people that they only last a season or two, or they get into trouble in that season, right? But yeah, no, I truly believe that roofing is what has given me everything that I have in life now. I'm 45 years old this year, and I've only been in it almost 9 years, but even before that, I wasn't making the money or having the life that I have now because of roofing.
Right. And here's what I'll say for me, I so before I got into roofing, because I identified who I was and I identified that I had a greater purpose, I am the same person and I have the same joy when I was broke with nothing and being in this industry, because the roofing and roofer does not identify who I am.
Right.
And I really believe that, even in my sales, that I can connect that. And I think that people feel that from me. Like, okay, there's a connection and there's a purpose here with her being in our path.
Yeah, it's I ruffle feathers sometimes when I say this. Like, I can put any shirt on right now and go sell a roof. It's me standing at that door, connecting with that person that makes that sale. Now it's great to be able to hand the phone to them and say, "Look at these 5 stars; they're great," right? Because that's the truth. Like, we have to figure out a way to make sales when, hopefully, the door pitch doesn't go bad, right? But we have to provide that value. Like Eric says right now, we have to learn how to convey a value exchange and interview your customer as much as they do you. Make a friend, and the sale comes naturally.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's great.
Be comfortable be comfortable when it's not good on your spirit.
Right.
So even yesterday, there was a gentleman that called. Anyways, long story short, he's not my customer.
Right.
And I tarped his roof. There's this whole process that I went through, and he called me and he's cutting me off during conversation. And it's one of those situations that I'm like, you know what? This is not good on my spirit, and I need to listen to that, because it's not going to be worth that. And you have to be able to detach yourself and really listen to your spirit as well.
Sure. Well, you know what? Let's end on this. But what's next for Red Bottom? And then we're going to be coming to town on the 18th of May. So everybody that's watching now, or maybe you'll be watching later, make sure you come see us in Houston on May the 18th.
I think it's the
19th event. Yeah.
Is it the 19th?
It was the 19th. My fault. 19th, not 19th. Sorry, my bad, guys. Sorry, I'm teaching on the 6th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. So it's 3 days there in my head.
You're a total rock star going on tour. So
I love teaching. Teaching for me brings me to a different place in my own mind. If I could give up everything today and only teach, I would be happy with the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I love that. But yeah, no. What's next for Red Bottom?
So this year, I'm looking to expand and bring a couple of more salespeople on, and I really want to empower, ideally, women.
Yeah.
My vision would be to find some SILs single moms who were down on their luck and, looking for something that could catapult them back into, providing for their family, providing for their children, and creating new legacy and trajectory for their children. And that's ideally what I want Red Bottom to look like. That's really near and dear to my heart.
You know what? That's great. It's Eric says that's a unique name. Eric, you know what? You'll have to go back and watch the beginning. She went through that just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get ready to close here, but I first want to give a shout out to our sponsors, ABC. everybody knows ABC Supply, right? ABC, Good Leap, and Roofer are working on a great partnership for all of the roofers out there in the world. We've got Ink. If you're not working with Ink Payments, reach out to those guys. I'll make sure that you have all the information. If you don't know who they are, Square Dash, Matt Fruget, my guy, Liz Calzadilla. I'm really excited. I'm so sad that.
Well, I don't get to meet her in Houston, but I can't wait to meet her in the future.
You know what? Even if you don't get to meet her in Houston, maybe you could fly to Fort Lauderdale the day before and come and hang out with us. But no, Liz is one of my best friends in the world too. Thank God for Liz. She's the one that made my World's Greatest Roofer logo. Adriana at Roofer is the one who actually revamped it. But Coastal Claims, Signs Global, we have more sponsors coming. I'm just trying to get them all straight with their contracts. You know, until that ink is dry, I don't want to put them on that screen. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Shout out to all the guys holding out, making sure that we got a lot of people coming. It looks like a very good crowd is going to be at our event. I don't want to promise any numbers, but I'm seeing some good numbers. We're having good registration numbers.
Well, I'm honored and I'm excited, and thank you to your team. Y'all are doing a phenomenal job, and thank you for pouring into all of us.
If you guys are watching right now, go to roofer.com/rise. It's right there at the bottom right hand of your screen. Go ahead and grab your tickets. Tell us where you're gonna, come and see us at. We can't wait. But 3/4 of a day event, May the 19th in Houston. Silberia is going to be there, and you're going to learn more from her, me. David Taggart's going to be there. Steven Martinez, Kyle Peterson, and there might be another surprise or two. I'll let you know later.
Are you going to let us know though?
Yeah, I'll let you know when I know for sure. Like I've said, I got to make sure I got it all on paper. So
okay, I'm super excited. Thank you so much.
No problem, guys. Hey, thank you, guys. We'll see you soon. Again, roofer.com/rise for your tickets. See you soon. Hold on one second,